Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this first official, I don't even know if I could call it a pre-alpha build. It is quite literally the first official build we are going to be showing off of the game that my team has been working on. With that said, hi, my name is Hans Lee. I am the founder of Team No Exp Needed and the director for Project Mosaic. Forgive me also if I sound maybe a little bit quiet or am hard to hear. It is roughly 12:30 in the morning because this is so hot off the press, so fresh, so juicy, so good. I wanted to show it to people because I am so proud of the team that is working on this right now. Shout out to not only our programmers, but also to our artists, to our web developer, to our story writer, to our level designers, and to our audio engineer and musician, as well as all the other members and friends who have helped us along the way to make this game become even remotely what we have right now in this very early stage. With that said, let's get into what our game is about. Our game is called Project Mosaic, which is our current placeholder game, and that is where you will current placeholder name, where you get to play as Kid, which is again kind of their nickname we got going on for them, who is the child of death, uh, and they are originally from the world of death, but end up getting stuck in the world of life by accident. And they're just simply trying to find their way home, but end up causing a lot of trouble along the way. A bit about Kid, real quick, is that uh, their personality is something of a mischievous little child, or that mischievous kid who you always knew growing up, or maybe you were that kid growing up, who found themselves into trouble more often than not, and always tried to like sneak around and uh, uh, be a bit of a fiend, as one of our artists would put it. Um, so they are very mischievous. Think of like Macaulay Culkin meets a bit of Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse versus Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. That is who this character is. That is very much the energy that they are to imbue while you play as them. With that said, because Kid is from the world of death, death is a very magical place. It is a very fanciful place, full of more traditional fantasy elements, including their ability to tap into kind of this magic in the world. Because of where they're from, they have access to magical abilities. And in Kid's case, the one that they are able to have the most access to is the ability to meld into shadows. So any of the shadows that you see here on the map uh, will be noted as are places where you can effectively go in and out of without being detected. Now, because of the case of this build, how we have it set up, detection isn't actually officially implemented, but to give you the effect or give you the understanding that you are able to meld into shadows, I have personally set it up so that when you press the Q button on our keyboard and you are within the space of a shadow, that you will basically flatten into the shadow. That move was basically taken initially from like one of our initial implementations, like how we initially envisioned this ability to work, and also because it is a simple way of just understanding it, and I basically cribbed it from Splatoon. Thank you, Nintendo, for making good games. Uh, with that said, how Splatoon does, they're like diving into ink is where we got this part of this inspiration for this ability. And so it is to match a bit of that diving into ink aspect where you can flatten yourself out and become one with that shadow. In the official game, in a more official build of the game, that will be certainly changed around to better reflect that vision of what this ability really truly encapsulates. For the time being, though, you can just jump into a shadow and flatten yourself out and pretend that you will not be seen by the Sentry of Life, which you can see over in the corner there. Now, in the case of that, with death being a very magical world, but Kid not being in the world of death, they are now in the world of life, it brings us over to the kind of other side of that coin, where death is very fanciful and magical, and by all regards, a rather introverted existence. Uh, the world of life is quite the opposite. The world of life, there's always a party going on. They are very strong proponents and believers in like being able to use technology to advance their way of living and to also help retain and preserve life to some degree, while also advancing it and being beneficial to help others be successful. With that said, they have little robots. This is our little placeholder robot. These robots, while it is very intimidating and scary, is meant to really actually be a helper around this world. Now, while they are meant to be helpers, they can be used as effectively very low level or low tier security forces in case any rowdy residents of life decide to act up a bit. Um, but with that said, these guys aren't terribly big. They're actually quite small. Probably no bigger than like 3/4 of a meter tall. By the way, we are predominantly stationed in the United States, so like that is, I don't know, roughly our official United States measurement is about like 4'3" or like 4'7", somewhere around there. Maybe 5 foot at the absolute tallest. While they're standing in this specific position. Again, all of this is to be finalized a little bit later on. But with that said, they're not very big. And they're not meant to be combat units, they're just really meant to be assistants to the world of life. However, because Kid is a stranger in a strange land and kind of got themselves into trouble, these guys have to take care of them. They have to take care of like Kid and either capture them or kick them out. And kicking them out isn't an easy task right now, so it's kind of capturing or other things. Uh, but with that said, you know, with Kid's first encounter with them being so jarring, um, it left them in a very weird space. Well, it left Kid in a very weird space where maybe that magic has some unfortunate consequences because of what's been going on. But why would I want to just sit here and talk you guys zero off about it for another like 3 minutes? Let's actually see what this looks like in engine. So I'm going to hit Alt P and we're going to start this session. So as you can see, here is our placeholder for Kid. There is the robot. Robot's just minding their own business. Kid's weapon, by the way, is based off of a Becta Corbin or a Lucre hammer, um, which is important to how predominantly combat will be focused in this world. As you can see on the robot out there, they have a faceplate and they have four like pieces of golden armor that surround their legs. The Lucre hammer, by its nature, has a hammerhead on one end, it has a pick on another, and it has a spear at the top. Our combat system will involve the player having to hit the pieces of armor in order to help pry them off with the pick after you've done enough damage using the hammerhead. And then once those pieces of armor are ripped off, you use the tip of the spear to effectively knock out the oh, oh, it looks like the robot found us. Maybe? Maybe? Ignore me. Please ignore me, robot. I don't want to be seen. I can't even meld into shadows, as you can see. But with that said, you will use the tip of the spear to deliver the decisive, striking precision blow in order to incapacitate the robots. Likewise, if you don't want to go around the route of being, you know, Mr. Let's beat the daylights out of a poor defenseless robot, you can also just take stuff off of them. One of our goals is to be able to have the pick, which was picked up from something that we found out in our research, that knights and people who use the Bec de Corbin or poleaxe would be able to use the hook or the pick to effectively steal stuff or sweep the leg or hook the leg, and knock their opponents to the ground. So instead of that, we're going to use that as an opportunity to allow the player to maybe avoid combat altogether, and you get to steal the key components you need to progress off of the robot using the pick. But I would also be careful about doing that, because if you miss, well, let's just say getting poked in the back end by a very pokey stick doesn't feel good to anybody, including a robot. With that said, let's see if maybe we can't sneak up on them. Boom. This is our shadow meld ability, by the way. As you can see, we are in the shadow. We are one with the shadow. We're going to sneak up on them. Why did you get bigger? I'm sorry, something's weird here, folks. I'm sorry. You would think that this is a bug. Let's maybe try and stop following me, please, Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot, please stop following me. Please stop following me. I want you to stop following me. 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 You are very, very specifically following me. Okay, that was weird. You would all think that's pretty weird, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, so, because again, detection isn't a thing that we have programmed in yet. Let's see what we can find out. Again, Kid maybe hasn't had the best encounters with these robots. That was weird. Maybe they're a bit scared of them. Maybe because of that very poor encounter that caused an unfortunate side effect from the magic that Kid innately has to be transferred into the robot. Why are you so big? You're a very big robot. Hi. Will you follow me down here, Mr. Robot? Yeah. Hi. Can you turn around? You need assistance. Apparently, they needed assistance. With that said, with that said, though, to wrap this all up, and not make this a very long video, is that because Kid had a bad encounter with these robots, and they are a stranger in a strange land, we wanted to dive into the idea that there are things in life that feel so intimidating to us. And that intimidation, those things that are scary, they feel gargantuan. They feel larger than life, larger than what we could probably handle, even if at a distance. You look at something and you're like, I'm confident that I can beat that, no problem. You know, it again, quite literally is, as we can see here with how the mechanic sets up, is the farther away you are from something, you know, the smaller it is. Um, but the closer you get to it, the bigger and more intimidating it can be, especially if it's something that's caused you fear or anxiety or like some sort of like trauma. And learning how to face that is going to be a battle that is really wild and intense, especially if maybe the goal is to not be seen, you know? Because again, nothing's more intimidating than seeing a giant robot when you're like, I'm just going to sneak behind and be like, do, stop. God, that is actually kind of scary, by the way. I'm not even joking on that. That is pretty terrifying. But yeah, just stop it, stop it, stop it. Yeah, that is a very determined robot. But yeah, seeing it and being like, just seeing that like pop over a fence. Come on, come on. Yeah, like literally, that is kind of intimidating and pretty terrifying. But sometimes that's life. Maybe we don't always want to fight those things, and it's easier to just sneak on by. Maybe sometimes we do have to fight them. And that's going to be kind of the crux of our game. Whether it's learning what life and death have to offer, figuring out what it means to exist, whatever, however we choose to go with the story. Again, also, by the way, even I don't fully know the whole story because I'm leaving that up to our writers. I want to be a person who very much inspires and gives space to the people working on this game to be creative and to get creative with what they want to do. You know, I'm just going to make sure that all the pieces fit together accordingly and we end up with really cool things. So, anyways, with that said, I have hit probably close to 20 minutes explaining what our game is. Uh, as for when you will see a more official build of this, our goal is to be able to have a vertical slice ready by late March, late March, mid-April is our deadline window, and that is so that we can have our vertical slice sent over to the wonderful folks of Gabe and Tycho um, at Penny Arcade to have them review it to see if it is a game that will make it into the PAX Rising showcase for PAX West 2024. If for some reason it doesn't make that, well, there's a lot of other contacts that some of us have made in the industry who might equally be as interested. Still, if you guys want to support it, let us know. Keep an eye on this and cheer us on. We're Team No Experience needed for a reason. We don't have official experience making a video game, so this is our first official like flag in the ground of saying this is what we're going to do. We're going to give it our best. We're going to give it our all. And especially as me as the director, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that this becomes successful. I want to see these wonderful people who have taken the time to make something amazing, even as silly and kind of janky as this super early pre-alpha might seem. I am 1,001%, no, not even 1,001. I am I am to infinity and beyond impressed at how amazing everybody has been on this team. From everything from the art design and the concepts that we have for our player character to our programmers, to our animators, to our web designer, literally every single one of them. If you guys watch this to this point, or even more so, thank you. Thank you for following me on this journey. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. With that said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and keep an eye out in the future for more updates on Project Mosaic coming from the wonderful team of Team No Experience Needed. Have a good night, everyone.